Well, hello and welcome. Well, we woke up this morning to a very sad news. This morning, Honorable J.B. Dankwa, Member of Parliament for Ebuakwa North, was brutally murdered in his own house. Very, very sad news, which has triggered today's topic: unsolved murders in Ghana. And strangely enough, I want to ask, is this the new Ghana that we find ourselves in? Unexplained murders and dragged on cases that keeps going on and on and on. Now we want to find out, is it that the police are not equipped enough to handle these cases? Is it that we as a people are not giving enough information to the police to help arrest these people? What can it be that makes this bad news befall us here? Could it be technical support? But indeed, this culture of security that we have developed, we should change and rethink of how we look at keeping safe. And as you can see on your screens, these are all cases that have come and gone, which are lingering and having got a definite conclusion. Should this be the case? And we are starting the conversation with what happened this morning to make sure that if one of us is not free, none of us will be free. My name is Nana Ansakwao. This is PM Express, and when we come back, we'll be talking to people in the know of how these things happen and how it is that we can solve it. Well, thank you very much for staying, and my colleague Ampre Chum is here with me. First time, but he's a colleague, so he's an in-house. You know, they say as a chief, if you find your son, you end up paying for it. So that's why chiefs don't like finding their sons.
You found me.
But thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And we woke up to very bad news this morning, and I think you have more insight to what happened. And there's so many questions which, you know, you sit behind the screen and then you are asking as to, you know, what time did he get home? What time had the doctor say that, you know, he eventually passed out? Who found him? Did he shout? Just give us some details if you know any of these. And then the conversation will be broad. We have Professor Ken Atefa on the line. We have Mr. Paul Avui also on the line, just to give us an understanding of why murder cases drag on or sometimes just get unsolved. But we'll start from this morning at East Legon. And Brother, what happened this morning?
Nana, let me try to walk you through what actually happened.
Sure.
From the time he was allegedly killed to the time we are speaking now. I'll give you accounts from what the police said, okay, what some people in the house said, what some colleague MPs have also been saying.
Okay.
So let's start from when the murder supposedly occurred. I understand it occurred around 1:30 p.m. 1:30 a.m., that is early morning.
Okay.
Very early in the morning. The police received a distress call from the house that something was going on over there. So they rushed over there, and then they found the MP, that is MP for Ebuakwa North, that is J.B. Dankwa. He was in a pool of blood. And so they hurriedly took him to the hospital, but he died on arrival.
But by this time, how many people were in the house?
Exactly. We don't have a clue as to how many people were in the house. But then, one MP, Honorable Atachia, he has been describing the circumstances. And according to him, the police came around 1:30. And at the time they came around, they failed to surround the building. And he believes that the assailant was in the building the time the police got there. And so if they had surrounded the building, they would have been able to get to him. And so he died. He didn't die in the house. There was some life in him, but he died on arrival. That is when he got to the hospital. And I have been to the house earlier in the morning, from about the time the incident happened, throughout the time we broke the news about 6. The first bulletin, that was the breaking news, was about 5 on Joy. So at 6, thereabout, the police cordoned off the place. They were doing their own forensic investigations, taking the evidence and making sure that everything is covered. So I was able to get to the house. One of my colleagues covered it in the morning. I took over in the afternoon. I got there around 2 o'clock. And by that time, the police had handed over the home, that is his home, to the family. And so we could enter at that particular time. And that was when I went to the back of the building. We are told that the assailants used a ladder to climb the wall. It's a two-story house. Okay, they used a ladder to climb through the front of the house. Okay, and then entered his bedroom. So we can only assume that probably the bedroom was not locked. And then they...
So somebody that might have known where he's sleeping?
It looks like from the people we've been speaking to, some of the experts we've been speaking to, it looks like this was quite planned. It was somebody who could find his way around the house because they knew where to pass. The building has, the walls have burglar-proof, that is
the wire mesh
all around. It is those ones that can easily hurt you, those winding ones. But the back has these straight ones that are usually electrified.
Okay.
And so that one, without electricity, it is very easy to scale over. And so after the act, he went through the back door. Atachian is saying he did that because the police were occupying the front. And when you go to the house, you can see the marks of the assailant. The building is a big off-white, it's cream. And these footprints, you can see that he held on to some metal rails and tried to get down. So he stepped at the side of the wall and then he jumped on the ground. His footprints are marked with blood stains.
Wow.
Yes. So you could see blood stains on the wall from the footprints. And when he got down there were blood stains on the floor. So he walked through a small area of grass, and then there was a poly tank very close to the wall at the back of the house. So he scaled that wall, and over there too you can see his footprint, blood stained, on the wall. And the poly tank is a bit dusty, and so you can see that he tried to use that one to scale over. And so basically, that is a bit of a narration as to how the thing happened. And it's quite sad.
Having any reports of screams or who made the distress call? Was it him or was it somebody from the house?
The police did not say who made the distress call. And the Atachian, who also talked about the fact that the police was called, has not said who made the distress call. But apparently a call was made for the people.
Did he scream for help?
That I am not sure about.
Because there's a watchman in the house.
There were unconfirmed reports that the wife and the kids were locked in a room, but that we cannot confirm. The police have not confirmed that as well. And so looking at how the assailant got blood stains and all that, it presupposes there was some struggle. And because of that, the person got himself soiled. And he left his shoes. Yes, the police, among some of the evidence the police found, were the shoes of this alleged assailant. And so this is basically, for now, this is what the police, as well as other people who have information, have been telling us. And as at 2 o'clock when I went to the house, it had been handed over to the police. The majority leader was there, that is Adam Bagbin, to console the family. They had opened a book of condolence where the people, everyone could sign and express their condolences to the family. And usually, traditionally, we put up a tent and others where people come and greet the family. That was in place when I went there at 2 o'clock. And so as we speak now, the police tell us investigations are still going on, Nana.
Wow. One of the issues that came up was that maybe the house had been given back to the family a bit too quick. But who knows? Maybe forensic have gotten enough of what they need. Have the police said anything with regards to the timing with which they've given the house back?
This question is something we put to the criminologist, which we'll be speaking to on this show, as you've indicated. And he quite said it probably could be too early, but you can't tell why the incident happened on top. So we don't know if that place is still cordoned off. And as at the time I went there, the police were still around. And they were saying they will hang around for some time. just in case there's something else they need to pick up. But there were questions about it, especially the back of the house, where there were the blood stains and others. This is a crime scene, and some are saying that it is probably too early to hand it over. But then, I believe the police know what they are doing. They can be the best judge as to the kind of evidence they need to resolve the murder. So for that one, probably the experts can deal with it. But if they haven't, then probably the evidence outside has been tampered with, because people were walking around that area trying to show where this is where the man came and all that. And so hopefully they've taken the samples and all that they need to resolve this matter.
Well, this is the message from you from Gifty Auntie Mary. It says, why does he keep saying he and not she? I mean, but
it's an interesting question because it looks like no one is.
We all assume that, you know, for such a bad thing, it has to be a man, isn't it?
And it looks like hitmen usually are males,
You know.
and it is assumed men have the boldness to do it.
They go.
Maybe, who knows?
Who
Some
knows?
people have been arrested. All of them are men, including the security man over there. The police in the afternoon told us 5 people are being held.
So the security man had no screams, nobody jumping in and out of the house?
Well, we've not had the opportunity to talk to him, but he's part of the people who have been called by the police to assist with investigations. And I'm sure with time, we'll be able to unravel more of this mystery.
Well, before I go on to the phone and speak to Mr. Peter Avui, who's a retired superintendent, I want to broaden the conversation. And you being in the media, I must have heard, you know, there have been too many cases, and they seem to sort of drag, and there's no conclusion. There, we found the murder, we caught him, we send him to prison. We never get that. It's just remand days. Somebody has been presented before court, and then we forget about it. And there's just, you know, we could see the faces of all these guys. And what is it that we can't seem to end murder cases?
You know, first of all, let me just walk you through some of the people who have been killed over the past few years. And those people, some they are resolving, but it is not conclusive yet. And some, we have no clue as to what is happening. Of course, the latest one is this honorable man. But in June 2014, on the 21st of June, you had a paramount chief of the Nanumba traditional area, Na Dasana Antani. And he was murdered alongside 3 family members when he was actually praying. Okay, and this murder is still unresolved. And then we have Nana Adusa Japon IV, the chief of Achuma Kofodia in the Ashanti region. Now, he was also gunned down by unknown assailants when he was going about his duties, allegedly due to a land dispute. But we are yet to find out what exactly. He has not even been buried because the Asante Hene has not given the approval yet. And I believe probably he's waiting for investigations to conclude. Then we have Ni Aite Nuyache. He is a Juma Manche. That happened on the 12th of March 2015. This murder is also unresolved. And he was shot whilst he was in his room. This one was a gun, but what happened today was by a knife. And then we have one very famous one, the paramount chief of Sekwa, Nana Kweku Juma Nkwana II. He was resting in his porch when people shot him from nowhere, and he died suddenly. By the time he got to the hospital, he was dead. We also have this Fenekotri. He was very popular because he is an entertainment figure. He was the manager of hip life artist called Kese, and he was killed on March 13, 2014. And earlier, his manager, some bulldog, was arrested. We heard all that came about. And as of now, we have no news on what investigations have concluded on, or if any persons have been arrested. Another person who was killed just in November 2015 was the Vodafone marketing officer. And we have Mr. Ebo Panford Kwenu. He also died under tragic circumstances. 150 CDs, mobile phones, laptops, and other electronic gadgets were stolen from him. And he was murdered as well, and nothing has so far been heard about that. Let's look at one other person we have, the branch manager of EcoBank in Kumasi, Richard Salah. He was also a Lighthouse Chapel member, a pastor actually. He also was shot in his room, and whilst he was watching he was going about his duties, TV and other things were taken. As of now, we don't have anything on that one as well. And there was also this very fine lady, a 32-year-old employee of the Stanbic Bank. She died on 12 December 2013, Rosemont Nyampong. And her murder, I think there was some
arrest.
There were some arrests. The guy actually took her Prius, Toyota I hope the car. I don't think it was a Prius, but the guy who killed her took the car.
Somebody who runs errands or something.
Exactly. And Lisa said he was part of a group and they hired him to do that deal. I think he is behind bars. But as to those who hired him to do that particular deal, we are yet to find out. And I'm sure investigations are also still going on. So these are some of the murders still unresolved. And there are many more.
Well, EcoBank case arrest has been made and is on remand. Bimbilla case arrest has been made. They are before court, but look at the British case. The guy killed, buried, ran to Takoradi. Before then, the police were here, get the guy, take him through court, back to the UK to go and finish the case. So you could feel that.
The argument people make, is whenever these incidents involve policemen, it looks like somehow they're able to arrest the perpetrators. There have been incidents where policemen or people close to policemen have been murdered. And then
they get resolution.
They've been able to get resolutions.
Well, the person who's going to answer that is Mr. Paul Avui, who's a retired superintendent of police. Good evening and welcome, sir.
Good evening.
Thank you very much. I'm sure you've had the deliberation between my brother and myself, and we're just trying to find out what is it about murder cases that seem to make it just drag, or it just goes on unsolved?
Come again.
I said we're just trying to figure out what is it about murder cases that it drags on for too long, or generally, it just goes unsolved. We don't know who committed what crime, or it just dies away. Is it that the police are not equipped enough to do forensic? Is it that the public is not giving you enough information? So what is it, if you can help us?
I think that the issue should not be treated in isolation, because the murder, I think, is violence. Violence, I mean, it has something to do with violence. And if you look at the history of the country for some time now, I believe that violence, remember there was these women who had, a lot of women were killed in the early times in the early 90s.
Yeah.
So it's not, I think that as a country, we haven't sat down to look critically at the issue of violence in any form. Because even with the police, the sort of, but we just move along and take things for granted. You look at our homes are no longer homes, unemployment, kids are exposed to these violent films that they watch on the TV, and all these things are all happening. And we have to sit down and analyze and find out why are these things happening, and then come up with solutions. But we only lament and and they go on and on and on, and it happens. We forget it goes on and on and on and on. And so we have to sit up as a country and look at critically what is happening as far as violence is concerned.
Mr. Avui, you think we are feeding our young growing generation too much violence?
That's what I'm saying, that from the early 80s, its violence has been ongoing in forms of gruesome murders, violence in all these forms. I mean, in schools, in colleges, in homes, everywhere. And we are not able to find an answer to these things. And I believe that it is time for us now to sit up. The police must come out now to do crime audits, do crime surveys, and find out the root causes of some of these things. Without that, I think that all these things will happen and we will not find solutions. Regarding murders, I think some of the ones that happen need for people to become more security conscious. People to become more security conscious, because if you look at the society, people are not so security conscious in our communities, and the police is also not doing the needed education on crime prevention, and it's all like things happen. We only talk about police action. Mm-hmm. We don't educate the public on what they should be doing, and people becoming more security conscious and more vigilant in their homes and doing things that will prevent some of these things.
With vigilance and prevention, I mean, some of the basic things are like CCTV, which in our part of the world is not quite encouraged at all. And I don't think it's that much of an expensive gadget just to have, a couple of CCTV so you can see who is coming and who is going. In the police forces, I wonder how much that could help in your work.
Yeah, I think it depends on affordability. Looking at the economic situation in the country over the years, it's only maybe a few people who can afford to, have some of these gadgets installed in their homes. But I think people must start thinking about some of these things, like if they can afford, they should have CCTVs in their homes. They should have, most importantly, alarm systems. We have various forms of alarm systems which people can install in their homes to prevent some of these break-ins and attacks, criminal attacks.
But generally, are we laxed on security and safety? I mean, do we take it a bit for granted? Are we building that culture where we are taking security and safety for granted?
I think we take security for granted because, you see, prevention begins with education, and the law enforcement agency, the primary law enforcement agency, the police, how often do we give public education, even in schools, beginning with the children, teaching them basic crime prevention, strategies and all these things? It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. How many times do we listen to these numerous radio stations allocating airtime to police officers to come and do maybe 15 minutes a week on crime prevention? It's not done. So we have to look at this. And then the other aspect is that there is no law and order in the country. No, the law and order is very loose, and discipline is not there. Our homes, like I said, are no longer homes. Mm-hmm. Children are supposed to be taught by the TV, they are home watching these violent films, and people are being contracted to go and kill, and they pick these things up and grow up. And then the criminal gangs are also cashing in on, the unemployment and recruiting some of these young ones to be engaged in some of these acts of violence.
Mr. Will, hold on for me 1 second. Let me put my brother in the studio on the spot. Do you think that maybe we in the media, we also chase it for 2 weeks and then we leave it? We don't hammer it for a result, 2 weeks later, well, if you're not going to give us an answer, let's move on. Could we be guilty of that?
No, I think there's so much the media can do, okay? There are other issues. Now, elsewhere, when you go, the media reports a crime, the police takes over. I don't think the media needs the police to be beating its back all the time to do its job. Now, this case has happened, okay? So what the media has to do, we report it. of course, we make sure we provide a balanced report. We bring the bare facts. We don't exaggerate it. The police picks it up and then do their own investigations. Elsewhere, the police will, at some point in time, bring information to the media. Now, when you talk about all these crimes that have gone on, we have been asking the police, what have you done with these murders? Some of them, they'll tell you, well, investigations are still going on. When we are done, we'll bring it out. It's been years and years, and they still tell us investigations are still going on. And so the media can only report what has happened. But I believe it is also the duty of the police to continue investigating. And at the end, when they resolve it, they call us, the media. Then we come and tell the good works that they have done. Because we cannot resolve the crimes. We can do some investigative journalism to help the police do their job. But I think it is a core responsibility of the police to do their job. We will report and do our best in as much as we can to help the police do its job. Look at this instance. We can only report what has happened over there. If I have any information, I'm willing to give it to the media. But after this happens, the media cannot continue to talk about this for the next 2, 3, 4 months. Other issues will come up. For instance, this year elections are coming up. And so when the police come up with something, and even in the middle of the electioneering campaign, you come and tell us, this is how far we've gone with investigations. I think it is breaking news. We'll be willing to do it. And so I think the media, we've been doing our part.
Well, it's 0560 800 000. 0560 800 000. Mr. Paul Avui, Superintendent of Police, retired, is going to be with us throughout the show. So bring your questions, and I'm sure he'll be happy to help us in answering it. This is from Hetty, and it says, good evening. This is really sad, but I have a problem with the police. Why allow so many people into the house in the morning? Is it because they are party executive? This is a murder case. They need every piece of evidence they can get. The police should be more professional, and that's Hetty. So bring your messages in. I'm going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, we continue the conversation. Double. Well, thank you very much for staying, and we are looking at unresolved murders in our country. We started from this morning, looking at what happened to the Honorable Member of Parliament. Sad, sad case. In his room at night, it couldn't have been safer, and then he gets, intruded, stabbed, and here we are. But then we're looking at all the cases that seem to happen, and it just drags on and on and on, and we don't seem to have an end. Just before the break, I was making an attack on my brother to find out, because we are in the media. Maybe we should pursue, and try to get, these, resolutions to these cases. But his argument was, we can only report what we have been told. Other than that, what more can we do? And on the phone, we have retired police officer Superintendent Paul Avui, who is also helping us with some of the challenges the police face and societal and discipline in general. Good evening, Mr. Avui. Have I still got you?
Yeah. Very
well, very well. The other thing I want you to tackle for me also is the age of the criminal these days. They seem to be they're getting younger, or am I exaggerating? I don't know, maybe...
No, you're not. Oh. We are not exaggerating. That's why we have to look at the way our homes are now. You see, if you look at our homes, most of our homes are not homes again. And we aren't doing any research to find out how our homes are. Single mothers are taking care of kids, and they become vulnerable in our community, irresponsible parenting and lack of discipline at homes. Character training is not going on. The moral training is going down, and violence is actually taking hold of our kids with this drug and substance abuse among the youth. All these things go to compound some of these things that you are facing today.
Let me come to the studio and ask my brother. This time I'm going to lambast us because I think everybody should take their part of the problem. I was in an office today and I was waiting to go in a pretty executive office and the TV was on and there was a music video. I mean, it was next to pornography and this was like 2 o'clock. It was literally next to pornography and I was quite, ashamed. Even though we're all adults, I was ashamed because I don't, there may be some children, at home or finished school and could also, it's normal TV, it's no box or anything. I mean, could we be really fueling a sick society?
I think the media is not totally innocent when it comes to what is happening in society. A lot of the things that kids emulate, they see on TV these days. We have a typical home where the mother and the father will go to work in the morning and probably come back when the kids are sleeping. So during all the time that a family, they are home, from school till the parents come, they are watching television. There is very little supervision. And looking at these videos that are happening, I had a typical instance where a friend of mine, visited. And he left his phone and my friend, my little boy, that is my nephew, were just playing with it. And all of a sudden, something very, very obscene came on the scene, like this video you were talking about. And his attention easily switched there. And I was like, so what are we teaching these kids?
Wow.
Yes, he just stopped playing with the phone. I know he loves games, but he just turned about watching that. I was like, what are you watching? And he just kept quiet. And so I think to some extent, we are also to blame, but I also believe that there should be some kind of regulation on ourselves. There should be some self-censorship. We always kick against an external party that's censoring us. But I think it is time we ought to censor ourselves. Let us tell ourselves we are all part of the society. Today is an MP. Tomorrow it could be a member of the media. And indeed, in the Ashanti region and others, members of the media fraternity have been gunned down in similar instances. Some years ago, one popular editor was gunned down. And you have all these kids learning about the new movies and how they were using guns. When you have adult supervision, it's easy for them to watch because you can easily explain to them that this is fiction. But when there isn't much of that supervision, and that is increasingly becoming the norm these days, we have the video games as well. They see it as a part of life. They see the killer in the movie as something they could be. And I think to that extent, the media can't be blamed for it.
Let me go on the phone. Joining us now is Professor Ken Atefa, who's a criminologist. Also on the phone is Mr. Paul Avui, who's a police officer. And then there are two media guys here, so all the parties, all the parties involved are represented here. The stakeholders meeting. Professor Ken Atefa, you're welcome to the show.
Yes, good evening and very much for having me.
Thank you so much. Prof, let me start with you with the seemingly contract killings. I don't know if I can state on authority if it's a contract killing.
Hello, Nana.
Hello, Prof.
I have to hear you. There is a tree program that is severely interfering. I'm hearing the tree more than I can hear.
Then you can hear me. I don't know if sound can do something about it for me. Can sound help me out?
Wow.
Okay, let's see if sound can help me out. Prof, is it any better now?
Wow. They are shouting and they are more audible than you are.
See, maybe we have to also start shouting. Is there anything that sound can help me with? Just wanted to find out with Prof. Atefa if indeed contract killings are now in Ghana, or if we can just say, okay, let me take a break quickly. Let me try and fix the problem. So stay tuned. Well, thank you very much for staying, and let me catch up with some of your messages that have come through. Nana, what is happening in this nation? Posterity will judge us. God have mercy on us. This is from Lexis in Banana Inn. Let me get another one. Go to the next one, and it says in Europe, 99% of murders are apprehended. But in Ghana, 99% of murders escape. I don't know if it's based on fact, but I can understand where you are coming from. Really saddened by this murder. I'm just thinking about the wife and children. Hope the police do a really good job by finding the killers. Chris Achab at Sandema. You bring that in, and this is on the WhatsApp platform, which is 0560 800 000. And this one says, Nana, if I may ask, who called the police to the scene and where the 5 people in the house were when the incident happened? This says Bolongo at Atinka Jomoro. You bring that one in. And this one also says, I am very sad and I believe the person who killed the MP will surely receive their reward. I urge the police to go deeply to find out the perpetrators. This is Edufosu in Techiman. This one says, good evening, Nana. I was very annoyed when I saw the crowd in the house. What was their business in the house, or is it campaign trip to the house? I am very sad today. From John in Kumasi. Let me catch another one here. This one says, good evening, Nana. I think our security is too weak and will urge leaders on board to do something. They always brag of increasing police, arms, etc., but always letting murderers run away. Maxwell from Esikuma. And let me go on the phone and see if this time we can get Prof would hear us properly. Hello, Prof. Have I dropped the line? Is the line dropped? The line is dropped. Okay. Anyway, let me come to you and ask you an unfair question. I mean, are we seeing contract killings in Ghana, or from our unexperienced eye, that is what it seems, or that is what it is?
Well, Professor Atifa, we wanted to speak with. He cautions that we shouldn't be quick to say this is a contract killing.
Good.
When we spoke with him earlier on Newsnight, there could be other motives for this murder, there could be other reasons. But when we conclude immediately that it's contract killing due to what we see, and he's a criminologist, so he might see beyond what we see. Those areas, we might rule them out, and in the end, we will not do a proper investigation into this whole thing. But then, the MP Atasha is saying that from what he can see, it's a contract killing. The fact that he didn't take anything, this man just went in there, targeted the man, stabbed him severally, and then he ended up dying. And
so his phones, his wallet, and everything?
To that, exactly. But Professor Atifa is actually warning against this. And I believe, I see some point in his argument. There might be, someone might be trying to paint a picture like this for us to believe it's a contract killing, and then have his or her way. I have decided to add the hair just to be balanced. Okay. So, but then if you look at the other murders, it looks like some of them have been robberies. The lady from Stanbic Bank, for instance, the guy apparently said he was told by some people to steal the other stuff and bring it, and so there isn't any clue as to say whether it was a contract killing or others. But the chiefs, they raise a very serious question, the chiefs that were murdered. These chieftains disputes in our country. And I don't know why somebody... jurisdiction. Exactly. Usually there are a lot of disputes over land, a lot of dispute about succession.
Succession.
Sadly. And that is where this issue of contract killing might come in. The person might not necessarily have been told or paid to kill the person, but some people with interest could have done it. In all of this, I believe if the police have been quick with their investigation. Some of them are 2-3 years. I know some murders can take a lot of time to resolve. But
let me come in. One thing which also really saddened my heart is the quality of the things that are stolen. Indeed, if it's a genuine robbery, laptop, iPad, iPhone, Samsung Galaxy 5, at most a car.
I think it shows the kind of society we are in and the things we place value on. Okay, people see phones and others, and most of these people will just sell it for pittance and probably buy drugs and go their way. And tomorrow they'll be back killing people and stealing. And it all boils down to what we place our value on. And also probably some people have argued unemployment.
See, let me come in again. I mean, I have a gun.
Yeah.
You have a phone. I've taken it. I mean, why do I want to? I mean, if it's like billions and billions of gold bar or some precious crown jewels, something, I'm not saying it's justified. But I mean, if you bring it down to a 50 CD, 500 CD phone, and we are prepared to maim, kill, rape, I am wondering how degenerated as a people we are becoming.
Now, you know, these killers, they are also as agitated sometimes as the victim. They are not people trained to handle a gun. If you have a soldier, if you have a policeman, they are trained to handle a gun. And so his first point of call won't be to reach out for his gun and shoot. But these people are there to rob. Some probably haven't shot a gun in their lives. They are only holding it to threaten you. And so they only see their defense as a gun. That is why the police actually would advise you, if you see a robber and you know the person, don't even mention the name. Recently, a man was gunned down in Kumasi for mentioning the name of a robber. After the incident had occurred, he was able to identify one of them. And so they are as agitated to shoot as you are afraid of them, because they know at any time the police can come in. That is why they are always trigger happy. And so if we are able to, as a society, okay, take good care of ourselves, and I think one thing we really need to do is a database. And someone said, without facts maybe, that 99% of murders in Europe are resolved. If you look at what the crime scene that we witnessed, if that is supposed to be the case, and the man left a lot of evidence, his shoes, blood stains, there will be DNA, there will be fingerprints, a lot of things. But if we take the fingerprints and what we match it against, we've had incidents of thefts in some offices in this country which had CCTV. We were able to identify the faces of those people, but where do we find them? You see, we don't have the address. If you ask me what is my address, I'll not be able to tell. I've now seen some AMA Imaland Street, but I don't know my number. So we need to invest, because solving these crimes, probably we might see it as 1 or 2 people are dying. But look at the number of people this MP is taking care of. Look at the number of people in his constituency that are benefiting from his benevolence. Look at the number of people, he's representing. Those people, until there's a by-election, will not have any representative. And it even puts fear in us. The MPs are now calling for more security. Of course, they are due it. Under their conditions of service, they are supposed to be provided with 24-hour service. They have the rank of a high court judge. Now they are asking for more security. That is additional cost to the state. Okay, the state should also invest in a database to protect us as well. I can't ask the police to give me a bodyguard, because that would be absurd. But if I know that if I put a CCTV in front of my house, tomorrow, when a man tries to come into my house and I'm able to see his face and we're able to take fingerprints, we will be able to go into the database, scan through, and then bring out some possible suspects. I'll be more relaxed.
Let me catch up with some of your messages as they keep flooding. Obviously, the issue of security concerns us all. You never know when it's going to be you. So you better protect your neighbor so that you also get protection. Good evening. The issue of unsolved murder cases is as a result of lack of security personnel posting to obscure areas and a gap in deployment of security personnel to authorities in position. Citizenry must therefore employ the need to get their rooms locked immediately you get inside your room. This is Harry from Uduma Sikrobo. Secondly, Nana, security personnel guarding houses are to be changed every day relating to murder cases. The security agencies must be ready to do that to avoid continuous handling of security personnel for long periods of months. This brings compromise of their post, hence sit aloof, giving directions and time to get this honorable and dignity's soul. Harry from Odumasi again. Harry sent a big hi, which means he wanted me to read that message. So Harry in Odumasi, I read your message. This one says, good evening, Nana, please. How is security in the house of these? I don't get it, but how is security in the house of these MPs? From Kanja, you need to bring your message again. It is painful and pathetic to say, but it's obvious the Ghana police is simply disinterested in cases that will not directly or not at all put them, oh, don't call this number, directly or not at all put some 1 Ghana cedi or 2 Ghana cedi in their pocket. They will stop cars and worry drivers on the road for 1 Ghana than diligently pursue a murder case till they find the perpetrators. What a risky country to live in. Ghana police is just a bomb. Never impressive at all. Peter Sakwa in Sunyane. That was a harsh one on the police. This one is from Master. I think Adubi and Ben Atif from Guatemala should be queried about the death of JB. They can do it. Don't underrate them. Why? I don't know if this is comic relief or this is real, but it's just, look, don't underestimate these terrorists in the, well, supposed detainees in the town. They could have sneaked out of their security zone and gone to do that. Dana, you're doing well because you always tackle trending issues. Whoa, proud of you. Murder is becoming too rampant. Let me go to the phone and speak to Paul, police officer, giving us the inside. Hello, Paul. Have I dropped the line? I can hear some beep, beep, beep. Is the line dropped? Okay, let me catch up with your messages while we try and probably find him. Good evening, Nana. As the reporter rightly said, got to the house, and if you can contact his colleague, Sam Derrick, who went to the house earlier, I think will do as good in explanation. Isaac, I think my brother's done all the explanation. There's nothing more to be said. We're waiting for the police now to come and give us that further details as to who called, were there a shout, was it a scream?
And I think that the police was quick this morning by coming out to tell us what they found, even before a lot of the media houses hanged on to it. Which was good. Which was good.
They don't leave us to speculate.
Exactly. Usually when things happen like that, you have to keep calling them for information, but they were forthright. They came to tell us what they knew, and then we also try to find out other things. And if we're able to work together like this, we're able to get the information that we need, I don't think there'll be a lot of issues.
So the police, if you are listening, it's important. Just don't leave us to speculate. Whatever you have, just tell us that we are up to here and we are looking into it, and then we work with that. Exactly. But if you leave it with us, my God, we have 24 hours to just imagine.
That's when the speculations begin, the conspiracy theories.
This was with all apology to those I may offend. Okay, let me know. Thank God I didn't read that one. Our only refuge is the Lord. The media can do more if only Anas can make the news. And about our security as a nation, this is a clear indication that the government lied about having security measures against all forms of rebellion by the Gitmo guys. Why is everybody linking this to Gitmo? I don't think it's that far yet. I need to be fair. It's not that far yet. Good evening. What is my worry? What my worry is that most of the crime committers go unpunished when found. And this is Peter Afua Zibila. Well, normally these guys, I think they will get.
I think they are punished.
They are punished. I mean, these are not like high flyers.
There have been cases where armed robbers and others
of course they are punished. And these are not your high flyers who get off the hook. These ones, if they get them.
And I'm sure when this guy is found, or this lady is found, I've had to balance the equation.
I mean, I know women are fighting for equality, but this one too.
They want to be equal. Let's give it to them.
Good evening. I think this MP needs to get their own. The MPs need to get their own personal security. And I'm wondering why there was no security camera in the MP's house. After all the big money they take, I think they should make security a priority. Also, we need just one emergency line for police, fire, and ambulance so that the response to emergency can be quick. This is Boateng in Yendi. But today indeed has been a sad day.
It's been a sad day. I mean, to wake up to such news, I woke up, I got the breaking news at dawn, and I was like, well, today is going to be a very hard day. And indeed, it is really sad. When you look at the house, I went into the house, went to meet the family, and at some point, Alban Bagbin himself had to be consoled.
Wow.
Because he was so down, and he spoke with us. You could see his voice could hardly come out. And I'm imagining what the family is going through, what the constituents are going through. And it might be unfair to say that he is more important than probably other people who have been killed. But this is a man who occupied such a high place in our society. We elected him to represent a group of people in this country. And so I think, for once, you see, the MPs always take the flak when it comes to they asking for more. When it comes to money, we go like, well, you have a lot of ex-gratia and all that. But I don't think anyone would like to see the MP in such a situation. If the law requires that we give them the protection, why don't we do it? So that, I think in the end, we will save ourselves a lot. It will cost Ghana more to lose an MP than to provide security for him. And so I think as Ghanaians, we ought to take care of our leaders. They should also take care of us. We need that database. It is very important.
Well, I guess, in short, if you're an MP and you live on any street, just make sure there's enough security on the whole street so nobody comes on the street. In that case,
street lights.
Street lights. In that case, your neighbors don't complain about you and you also enjoy the safety. Barbara, thank you very much for joining us. But once again, let me remind you that on the 26th of March, all roads lead to Akwamo Edumasa Grand Festival. My 5-year anniversary as a chief. Introduction of their first lady to them. You know, ever since we got married, I haven't introduced my wife to the people yet, so that's the introduction. A library project and a modern school that's being built, and the details will be going on as we approach March 26th. So pen that in your diary. Tomorrow we'll be back to do this all over again. Thank you.